Let's discuss this now with Giorgio Cafiero. He joins us from Washington, D.C., and he's the CEO of Gulf State Analytics. Giorgio, always good to have you here on TRT World. Since this war in Yemen started, there have been several ceasefires brokered by international players. The last one ended in October last year, and we haven't really seen any major flare-ups since then. Could this latest possible truce be the one that sticks?
You know, I'm cautiously optimistic that it will. The reasons for my optimism have to do with the fact that right now the leadership in Saudi Arabia is very focused on Vision 2030, the grandiose agenda of diversifying the Saudi economy. For Vision 2030 to succeed, the Saudis need to lure a tremendous amount of foreign investment. And that's going to be much easier if there's a detente with Iran and also peace in Yemen. You know, if there are real concerns about Houthi drones and missiles targeting Saudi Arabia in the future, it's going to make it harder to attract that kind of foreign investment and make Vision 2030 successful. And at the same time, inside Yemen, I think all the parties are so fatigued, and the different parties in Yemen, I think, are really ready to reach some sort of a political resolution to the crises that have unfortunately been plaguing Yemen for many years.
So battle-weary parties in Yemen, Saudi Arabia looking towards its future over the next 7 years. What's each side, do you think, going to ask for in the ceasefire? What are the red lines going to be?
Well, the Houthis are going to certainly want to see to it that there is an opening of the ports, the airports, borders. There are also important questions about salaries for Yemenis, both in the north and the south. That's been one of the big stumbling blocks in past negotiations. So that is something that has to get worked through. Also, the Saudis and the Emiratis are very concerned about the threat of the Houthi attacks. We've seen Abu Dhabi has been was struck at the beginning of last year. We've also seen many Houthi attacks into Saudi Arabia. So the relations with the neighbors and the security of GCC states will be important. At the same time, there's going to have to be an agreement for all foreign military forces to leave Yemen. So these are some of the really important issues that are central to these ongoing discussions right now.
And when we look at how these ongoing discussions actually came about, how significant is it that China was the one that was involved in these talks between a longtime adversary, Saudi Arabia and Iran?
Well, it is important to note that because of the March 10 diplomatic agreement that Saudi Arabia and Iran reached in China, it is a lot easier for there to be progress on the Yemeni front. There's no doubt about that. But we should also keep in mind that the Sultanate of Oman has been playing a very important role when it comes to diplomatic efforts aimed at bringing peace and stability to Yemen. The Omanis began doing this diplomatic heavy lifting right after the Saudi coalition went into Yemen, bringing us back to 2015. So again, the Chinese role when it came to the Saudi-Iranian agreement, very important here. But I do want to stress, though, that these efforts go back a long time before last month.
Giorgio Cafiero, appreciate your analysis, speaking to us there from the U.S. Capitol.